Now we will see how to paint this image or this art with watercolor painting. So for that I have taken materials. This is 440 GSM paper. It size is 8 by 10 size. I have taken 8 by 10, almost in between A4 and A5, like that it will come. 8 by 10 I have taken. Okay. So in the middle of the paper, I have composed a drawing. And for watercolors, I'll be using watercolor tubes like this. These are the watercolor tubes. Okay. So you can use any type of watercolors. And for color mixing, I use mixing palette like this, which will have depths. Okay. And also I'm going to use brushes, long hand brushes I'm using. So round brushes like this. These are round brushes. Some you can use round or more brush, any brush you can use for this art. And water is needed. So this is water, clear water in 1 cup. Okay. Now I'll take brush. Especially I'm using this is called liner brush, which will have thin hair. Okay, so to make thin lines, and this is called mop brush. So I'll use this for background. So these are about the brushes and colors. We'll start with brushes, and especially I'll use flat brush number 0 for inside the element brush. So these are about brushes. To clean the brushes I'm using. To wipe the brushes I'm using cloth. If you want to use any tissue, you can use. Now I'll take Crimson Lake, one deck, and Scarlet Lake, and I'll mix lemon yellow and Bombay blue, Gombage. This is lemon yellow. And also I'll put little bit of Gombage. Okay. Okay, so I want to mix both the colors. Now I'll take crimson. First I'll take crimson little bit, very little, and also lemon yellow. All mix it. I'll add water. See, I'm not adding too much of water. Just add a little bit of water here. Okay, so we'll get like orangish red. Okay, a little bit of combat, little bit of orange. Okay, so I need orangish red, so I'm using this color. So for the first layer of element, before starting background, I'll do the element work first. Afterwards, I'll do the background in watercolor painting. Okay, so first element work we'll do with brush number 0. Let's apply the. So this is the reflected highlight, which is very sharp. and highlights. Always remove the excess of color which you don't want. On this side, it should be in this way. So don't rub brush on the paper. Okay, this is not like pencil. You need to move it very smoothly, smooth strokes, smooth smoothness is needed. Okay, if you rub, what happens? Paper layer will come out slowly. So to avoid all that things, you need to make sure you are moving your brush very smoothly. Okay, now I'll take round brush number round brush number 8, and I'll take crimson color to my palette and I'll add water. So it needs to dry a little bit. Okay, dry till then we will apply heat. If you don't want thick pigment, what you do in the watercolor, you need to add little water. Okay, so the pigment will get reduced, water content will be more. When it gets dry, it will leave the impression of lighter value. Okay, because of that reason, you need to understand the watercolor issue. Now just mix the scarlet red with crimson red and apply at this side. Yeah. Now this side, crimson is more. Crimson come on this side. Now I'll lift the color little bit with dry brush. Yeah, it's looking. And I'll take little push you. Take out the color here. So I want a little yellowish color. So Bombay gel, lemon yellow I'm mixing. First you apply the lemon yellow on Bombay. Put a bit of crimson. Just mix the crimson and yellow like this. So you need to mix like this. Or you can call it as blending work. Blend it like this. It is a highlight value of the fruit. Okay. Now this thing. Next I'll take green color. Well, the on hue I'm taking. And I'll mix with yellow. Lemon yellow mixing. I'll take 4 to 5 parts of lemon yellow. Like half part of with the on hue. You can use sap green on. First layer I'm using like this. Now I'm mixing burn sienna. Yeah, I've taken burn sienna. Okay, and then I'll take very little bit of green, little bit of Veldian hue, and bit of blue Persian. This is burn sienna. So when it is folded at one end, what happens? It look like down part of the leaf. It should be dark like brown or green color. Okay. So you take little bit of light green, give a differentiation line here. Okay. Now in the green color I'm adding. Now if you want to add still leaves, add it to that. That's okay. So that's up to your wish. Now we have mixed color like sap green, burnt sienna, verdion hue and blue. We have mixed, right? So that color I'll apply to the little bit of scarlet red I'm adding to this, and I'll add this thing to the stem. So while adding to the stem, you need to be very careful for the highlights. So observe the highlights and paint here. If you want to change the brush, you can change. Okay. So, okay. I'll take flat brush number 0. So that is a sharp highlights I'm giving. Now you take, so this one is dry completely. So take crimson color and add it here. So already first layer we have drawn, we have painted. So you need to be very careful. If you put it at this stage, if you put any pressure while painting with the brush, what happens? It will take the first layer color. It will badly get mixed with first layer color. And whatever we feel to get the output, that will spoil. Okay. So you need to be very careful about it. I'm adding Crimson Lake here. I'm changing brush here. I'm taking liner. A bit of Crimson Lake. Here you will get the reflected highlight. This part. Now I'm adding little bit of Scarlet Lake. Very little. Minimal Scarlet Lake. So always you try to mix the near colors. Like if you are using crimson, don't use direct crimson. Mix it with little bit of Scarlet Lake. Okay, or you can mix it with orange. To get that values, you have to mix. Now I'll be mixing crimson lake with little bit of Scarlet Lake. Very good. I'll add the back. So this is the highlight, means backside should be the core depth. Now I'll take brush number 4 and I'll take little bit of orange, very little. Okay, so I want to give highlight value as orange. So wherever we did like this with the brush, there are not going to give orange. This is not completely direct highlight. So this is orangish highlight. So highlight is there, but it is carrying some light color. Light color is carrying. So you need to understand that. Just try to blend little bit. It should not be smooth. Okay. Now I'll take crimson color. So few lines are there here. So this is not in a plain way. It is carrying few lines. And also this one. For the crown part of pomegranate. Okay. Now I'll take little bit of blue and I'm using violet color now. Blue and red I'm mixing here. Get that one. And also very lightly I'm moving the color violet here. Very lightly. So that is the thing. Now I'll add blue, cobalt blue hue I'm taking here to the palette and also little bit of brown. And I'll mix this here. I'll add like this. Need to leave white spaces. This is the flower in the crown. Okay. Though it is a tiny value, okay, but it will add a great depth to your elements. So tiny values you should not miss like this. This is the fruits flower. Okay. Now I'll just take brush number 12. Okay. And very carefully you need to apply the background. Take orange color. For background, I'm using orange. So I'll apply dry wash only. I'm not using wet. With a dry brush only, I'll apply. So that I'll get control over the color. Okay. So I'm using controlled method. That means water will be less, pigment will be more. Plain orange I'm applying, okay? Or permanent orange we can call. So here you should be very careful when you are applying here to the stem because we have added the highlights in the stem. So it should not get mixed up with the color. So be careful while adding. Hand should move very slow and very light. Okay. Still we need to add one more layer for the fruit. So before that we are adding this background so that we can give little bit time to dry. Instead of using a hair dryer or any drying fans, let it dry naturally. Down part of the stem. So you need to observe what is important here is, so the upper part, upper portion, I have given dark pigment, orange only with less water. But the down part, I'm adding more water with less pigment to show the value scale. I'm using long handle brush to avoid contact with the color. Just adding a little water to lose this pigment which I applied here. Only one thing, when you're painting any type of elements or anything, you just need confidence. Okay, confidently you do it. Orange only I'm applying with different shades. Why I'm doing like this? I'm following the value scale. So to make value scale more appealing, I need to follow this method. So if you apply the borders, it will look like cartoonish. So don't apply any borders. Okay. You need to increase the color intensity or reduce the color intensity. That only you should do. Okay. Never ever apply the borders. If you are making it a cartoonish way, you can apply. Okay. So here, just try completely so I can place movement. Now the value scale is done. Now what we need to do? We need to add the light and shadow. So already we added the highlight value. Okay. Yeah. Already we added the highlight value. We need to add the uh, mix value. Okay. So now I'll take crimson color. Okay. Here I will add clean the brush and whatever the value is there, I'll pull it down. Okay. So both has to be visible. So I'm looking at crimson. I'll change the brush now and take this one. Now I'll take crimson on this side. Color pigment should be more. Okay. So this is the shadow of the leaf. Clean brush and with dry brush and move the color pigment. Only the thing, I should not leave any sharpnesses here. Not needed. If it is needed, you can obviously leave. If it is not needed, it should not leave. Okay. Now take mix of blue and burnt sienna, and you will start giving the shadow for the leaf. This is not border line. I am not adding any borders. I just want to add shadows. Okay. Take brush number 4. I'm mixing cobalt blue hue and the brown color to make the dot. 4 number round brush will go very well when you are adding any tiny details in the watercolor. Okay. So I want to add here layer to make it more dark. Okay. Mm. Okay. Now I just here is okay. Now what I do, final thing we have to do is we need to add a bit of gombag or yellow mix. Yellow and gombag mix. That we need to blend this everything. Good. Which carries the highlight of the fruit. Okay. So I'll just take yellow. And here also I'll add little bit of yellow. When you add anything, you just blend it smoothly. If it is needed, smoothly you need to blend. If it is not needed, make it hard. Leave it hard. Okay. So now let's see. Then I'll take like this. And little bit of glue. Now I'll take again yellow and I'll mix it with little bit of sap green. So water should be very less and pigment should be more. Now I'm adding value scale for the leaf. Just a small lines, slant lines. Okay, so like that you need to add the value scale. Value scale is wherever the darkness are there, you need to add the darker value. Wherever you think light doesn't touch there and all, you need to add the core depth, cast shadows. Okay, that will carry it. You need to think according to the light. I'm using 4 mm brush only. I have not changed. Clean the brush with a dry brush, move the color to show the value scheme. Okay. And to make it complete, you must add lemon yellow lines. When it is wet, at that time only you should add this lines. So why I have added like that? I feel their light is coming. So also. Okay, let them do. Yeah, if you want to add any leaf like this, you can add. Like this. So this is about watercolor painting. Try it yourself.